We are heading into the final 3 months of 2025, and quarter four can sometimes feel a little bit overwhelming with so many different ideas, so many things going on from Black Friday to the holidays. And how can you really make the most of those final 3 months of the year? Today, we're going to be talking about how you can actually simplify this, where you should actually be focusing for the last 3 months of 2025, and what you need to drop to make this a really simple quarter and make this your biggest quarter yet. Today, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step plan for quarter four. We are going to be looking at what actually matters, where should you be focusing, should you be spending your time, where should your energy be going, and where should you not be spending your time and energy? Where do we need to cut back to make this a quarter where it is really successful, it is really big for you, you achieve all of your goals, and also we do it in a way that is really, really simple for you. Less is more, especially when it comes to the final quarter of the year. Between the holidays, us actually probably wanting to have some time off, regardless of whether we celebrate Christmas or not, and wanting to just wind down a little bit, enjoy festivities, have a little bit of time over winter to just rest and relax. Between all of those things, we want business to be simple, and also we have big goals. We're wanting to end the year on a high. We're wanting to set ourselves up for 2026 to have an incredible new year and go in strong with all of our goals. So how can we actually do both of those things at the same time? This is not going to be a video where I give you 1,000 different things to go and do in the next 3 months. This is going to be a video where we are going to get you focused and intentional, so you can walk away from the end of this video with a really, really simple plan for quarter four. You know exactly where you're focusing. It feels really easy and it feels really clear where your time and energy needs to go for you to actually get results, meaning that you can actually get better results than you have done in any previous quarter and also be working less at the same time, just because we're simply getting more intentional. It is so easy to go into this quarter and feel like we need to do a lot of things and feel like we want to achieve some extra goals for the year. We want to end the year on a certain number and feel like we need to do a bit of a sprint to get there and just do a lot of things. And then I notice a lot of people will just spread themselves thin by doing this. We'll have 1,000 different things we're trying to do. We're focusing on all the things. We want to achieve all of those 2025 goals in just 3 months. And we end up doing so many things that then we end up being burnt out when it gets to the holidays and not actually being able to start the next new year on a really high note. And we don't end up achieving most of the goals because we were so busy trying to do all of the things and juggle that we didn't actually have the energy in the right areas. So that's what we're really going to be talking about today, of how to make sure your energy and your time is just focused in the right direction, because this is the thing that is going to make the difference between whether Q4 is really successful for you and felt really good and you achieved all of your goals versus you didn't, but you were working really hard and we're not sure what really happened here. So this is going to be really focused on how to make this simple and still achieve your goals, because the last quarter of the year is absolutely magical. This is my favorite quarter by far. These are the ones that have been the biggest for my business and my clients as well. These are the ones where people have literally doubled their income, even in the times when it has been the holidays and when it has been, a season where we are typically taking a little bit more time off, maybe being more around family, not wanting to work really long hours. These can still be your biggest seasons, partly because of that focus. And I think Q4 is really nice in that there are just a lot of holiday things going on, and with winter approaching and really coming in, we actually almost want to spend less time working. And this can be a negative thing if you choose it to be, and be feeling like I'm missing things and I'm not able to do the things I wanted to in work, and therefore I'm not able to get the results. Or it can be a real positive if actually that means that I'm forcing myself to get more intentional and get more focused. This can be a really positive time for you and actually be a really beneficial season. So let's dive in. As I said, I'm going to be walking you through a few key areas of your business, and we're just going to be looking at where should you be focusing. I'm going to be asking you a few different questions, walking you through a few pieces. So just have a think, make any notes if you're wanting to as well, of what comes up when I'm talking through each of these areas, of where you need to focus, and also on the flip side of that, what needs to be cut, because that's equally important. It's not just about adding new things in and focusing on more things. Being focused implies letting go of some things. So we need to also drop some things which really aren't serving you and are just going to take away your time and energy here. So the first part we're going to talk about is sales. Now, this is probably one of the biggest areas because it's probably, aside from maybe marketing, where you're spending a pretty good amount of your time. And also, this is probably the one that is the most closely linked to your goals. Whatever your goal is right now, whether it is I want a few extra clients, whether it is I want to hit this certain number for income, whether it is I'm wanting to launch this new program, whatever it is, a lot of our goals typically in business are to do with sales, because they just happen to be a result of that. So this is an area we really want to look at, of how can we not just Get really clear on what is actually going to generate those results for you that you're wanting in quarter 4. So keep that in mind as we're going through this of what is your specific goal for the next 3 months? What do you want to have achieved by the time we get to the 31st of December? What do you want your business to look like? Keep that in mind. But sales is really the powerhouse essentially behind a lot of that. It's behind a lot of the big goals that we have. And this is the piece that can make all the difference between us getting the income we want, getting the consistent income we want, and also doing that in a way that does feel really simple and does feel really manageable as well. So the sales framework I always follow for myself and with my clients is a 3-part sales process. And I'm going to quickly walk you through that because I want you to be looking at your sales focus for the next quarter from this perspective. The first part of this is audience, the second part is leads, and the third part is sales. This is a flow. People move through these. We can see that with every single client. They came into our audience, they were a lead, and then they signed on as a client and made the sale essentially after that. So audience is really that piece of everyone who has eyes on your business, everyone who is seeing everything that you're putting out there. The leads part is really who has raised their hands, who has said, hey, I'm interested in what you do. Hey, I am an ideal client. Hey, I have this problem. I'm looking for this solution, etc. And then sales is about you actually selling. That is about the final piece of closing the deal. That is getting someone to actually buy. That is you talking about your offer specifically. The reason why I want to talk about this sales process specifically in these 3 parts is because when you're thinking about the next quarter, so the next 3 months in your business, I want you to look at, okay, what am I doing for sales? What am I doing in the sales area of my business through this lens? Because if you can look at these 3 parts, we can firstly really clearly identify where there may be some gaps of actually, you know what, I don't even have the audience right now. I don't have the people who are the ideal clients who are looking at my things and seeing what I'm doing. Okay, great, I need to connect with more of them. Or we can see that I'm actually not really selling my offer and I'm not talking about it enough. Okay, great, I need to focus there. So we can firstly see where our focus needs to be when we look at those 3 areas. But also I want you to actually think from the perspective of over the next quarter for audience, leads, and sales, what is going to be my focus? What is going to be the one action I'm really going to be focusing on for each of these areas? And then that makes up your sales plan. That is the sales focus for you for the next quarter then. So these are really going to be your big drivers for sales in quarter 4. So pick one priority action for each of these areas. So audience, this is really about who are you speaking to? How are you connecting with people? How are people coming into your space? So what is one key action you're going to be focusing on to bring ideal clients into your space? This could be I'm going to networking events. This could be I'm going to be posting actively on Instagram, for example, and really focusing on things which are going to be bringing in new people and reaching more people. It could be I'm going to be making more connections. What is the audience focus going to be for you? Then secondly, what is the leads focus going to be? This is how are we actually generating leads and how are we nurturing leads? So what method are you utilizing that is working best for you right now? What is working really well and what isn't working so well? And again, we need to cut these things that are not working there, but pick one thing that is going to be working well for you for the next 3 months for how you're actually generating leads, aka getting someone to put up their hand and say they're an ideal client, say they're looking for the solution that you offer. And then the third part of sales, how are you actually going to be selling this offer? So have a look at your process firstly, see if there's anything that needs cleaning up in terms of, do I handle DM conversations very well? Am I good when I'm actually talking about my offer and selling that? Or do I need to work on my pitch a little bit better? See if there's any bits you need to work on there, but pick again a priority action for how are you going to be selling your offer. What's going to be your primary focus? Is it going to be talking about it on Instagram stories every day? Is it going to be sending emails to my list once a week, actually promoting my offer very directly? What is going to be your focus here? And again, this is so nice having these 3 parts for the sales process because it means that actually you can say, I want to really look at my sales and really actually optimize this area going into quarter 4. And you can make it so simple. We don't need 1,000 different areas. We don't need 100 different questions to be asking ourselves. We can just look at these 3 areas and say, okay, what am I doing in each of these 3 areas? What's my priority action for each of these? Just 1 or maximum 2 things that you're focusing on in each of these areas. And then that is done. That's what you need to do for sales. And then we just do that for quarter 3, or should I say quarter 4. So the second part then to actually looking at how you're going to simplify your plan going into quarter 4 is really looking at your marketing. Again, this is the one which can take a lot of time for people. And also I see so many people spending so much time on this, especially around content, and not really seeing the results from this, not really seeing people signing up, not really seeing interest from this, and feeling like it's not really working, but we're kind of just doing it to tick a box essentially. again, we're gonna make this so simple for you. So what I want you to do firstly is pick what are your platforms? Where are you gonna be posting and actually doing your marketing when it comes to quarter four? What are your platforms going to be? For example, it could be Instagram and YouTube. Those are the two places. And then how often are you going to be posting on each of those things? I want you to list this out. So again, this makes this so tangible for you. And this actually makes this something you can go ahead and batch, something you can prepare for, something which feels really clear because it's not post as much as possible and put out as much content as possible. It is, for example, I post once a week on YouTube. Instagram, I'm going to be posting 4 times a week there and on the feed, and then I'm going to be posting on stories every single day, for example. And that makes it super clear because there's a limited number, right? There's 13 times over that quarter that you're going to be posting YouTube videos. There are, I won't do the math on the spot because this is going to be so long otherwise, but 4 times a week, right? For those 3 months, you're going to be then actually posting on Instagram on the feed, and then you're going to be showing up in your stories each day. It makes it really clear what you actually need to do when it comes to marketing then, and you have almost a list that you can tick off there. Now, then for the messaging here, aka what are we talking about in this content to make this marketing side really just simple for you and also produce really amazing results, what is your overall umbrella messaging that you're wanting to share over quarter four? If you want your audience to know anything about you, take away anything, what is the overall thing? For example, with me, my overall umbrella messaging is really focused on actually building a simple, freedom-filled lifestyle business, something which has really consistent income for you, is really simple to run, and actually allows you to scale and grow uncapped as a solopreneur because you're not wasting your time on so many things that are not moving the needle for you. You're getting really focused, getting really intentional, and just getting strategic with where your time and energy is going. And then you're able to double your income and create exceptional results because of that. So that is my umbrella messaging. Everything I talk about, every post that I make, leads back to that in some way. This video leads perfectly to that because I'm talking about simplifying for quarter four and how to actually get more strategic and simple at the same time. So everything leads back to this umbrella messaging. So have a think of if you were just to say it exactly as I did, in 30 seconds, how would you describe what is your overall messaging? What does everything link back to? Because this makes it so much easier when you are creating content if you're not just thinking, what do I want to say today and what's on my mind? You're thinking, okay, what do I want to say about this? What do I have to say about this? What is a thing that my ideal client needs to hear today when it comes to this specific thing? So think through what is your overall umbrella messaging, aka the thing that you want everyone to remember you for when it comes to December 31st. And that's your simple marketing plan. Again, I said we're making this so simple for you. I'm not giving you 1,000 questions. This is not a 20-minute task that you need to go ahead and spend 20 minutes on every single section or anything like that. Literally, I want you to just write out what platforms are you posting on, how often are you posting on them, and what is the umbrella messaging, and everything comes back to this. Now, as I said, there's so many different parts we can go into, but these are really the 2 main areas of, to be honest, I would guess, not knowing what your goal is, that your goal comes down to somewhere around marketing and sales. It probably does lead to those areas to some extent because these are the big things which we do just tend to focus on in business and the big things that do move the needle for us in really simple ways. So these are the 2 areas I want you to write down in this plan to rapidly simplify. And then just doing this makes everything else easier. It makes the systems easier because we have some systems now and we have some processes around things. It makes the actual client delivery easier because you have some more time and space and energy for that now. But then really pulling these together, I want you to then look at, okay, what does your weekly rhythm look like essentially? When you're going through your weeks in quarter four, what does that look like in terms of what you actually need to do each week? And this is where I said with the marketing, actually, we can almost make a checklist out of this. We can almost say, okay, I need to post this many times on this platform. I need to post this many times on this platform. I'm posting each day on here. And we can almost make a checklist out of this. We can make it really simple there of we have a clear list of what needs to be done. And we're doing it intentionally because we know what that messaging is on the umbrella there, but actually looking at what is your weekly rhythm essentially. So for example, if you were to write out now, okay, from all of that, each week I know I need to create and post 1 YouTube video. I know I need to create and post 4 times to my Instagram feed. I know I'm needing to send out that sales email to my list because I said I was going to be selling directly to them and sharing some offer with them once a week. I need to also go in and nurture my leads 2 times a week, for example. And I'm also needing to go out and post on this certain platform, which is going to be really towards building my audience for that sales piece. So that can give you a really clear list, and that is your to-do list. These are the areas to focus on. And this is where I say about focusing and dropping everything else, because actually you can see that these are the things that are really going to move the needle for sales and marketing for you, which again are probably the big areas that are going to lead to whatever goal you have right now. It's probably something to do with those areas. So these are the things you need to focus on. That is it. That is your weekly plan. That is your to-do list right there. And these are the things to input, and anything else which is coming up or anything else which is in your to-do list right now, those are the things to maybe consider dropping. Now, of course, there will be other areas such as client delivery and client work, such as doing discovery calls, all of those different things, admin, those pieces that are just going to need to stick. They're things which are important parts of the business and not necessarily related to the marketing and sales, but they're just actions of the business just running essentially. But anything else, I would say, have a look at, once you've written this list, what else would normally go in there for you, i.e. where would you normally spend your time through the week of, oh, I would tend to do this as well, I would tend to do this, I would usually add this in, I'll usually do this on Mondays, and just ask yourself, is this really a priority for me? And if it isn't a priority, but it's an essential, obviously it needs to stay. We can ask ourselves, is there any simpler way to do this? Yes, but it needs to stay if it's essential for your business. But if it's not a priority and it's not an essential at the same time, we can look at, do we actually need to drop this? Is this something that is really moving you forward? Or is this something that you're feeling like you should do, feeling like you need to do? You're doing it for, future long-term growth, but actually that really isn't your focus and goal right now. So maybe that can be dropped for just a few months. See with your goals, does this actually align? And it can be so powerful to use this last quarter of the year to be a really intentional lock-in kind of moment, right? To be a moment where you're saying, I'm going to get really focused on the things I know are actually going to get me results and actually going to move things forward for me. And I'm kind of going to cut the rest. And I'm not really going to focus on anything else because I know it's distracting me. I know it's splitting my focus and taking a lot of my time and energy, to be honest, especially when we want to be in holiday mode and just celebrating the season as we're getting all festive. It's taking your time, it's taking your energy, and does it actually need to be there? We can revise this again in the new year. That's the best thing. We get to have this conversation. I'll probably do a YouTube video on it, to be honest, but we get to have this same conversation again in the new year, talking about where do you want to focus then? What is your priority for 2026? We can revise that, but just for the next 3 months, what is actually going to serve you in terms of knowing what your clear goal is? What is going to get you there? And again, we've gone through marketing, we've gone through sales, we've gone through some of those essentials, and those are the things to be focusing on. Everything else can be dropped. So go ahead and write out this really, really simple plan for quarter 4, because this is going to be the thing which makes it so easy for you to actually go and execute this and actually achieve those goals in a really, really simple way that do not take all your time and do not just take all of your energy essentially to just go after this and actually to build your business in a really freedom first way, but also just being really strategic, simple, and intentional with this too. And if you're wanting more support with really bringing this strategy and simplicity into your business, I am accepting a couple more one-to-one clients in October. And if you apply now for a link for a discovery call at the link in the description, I will put that there, then you also will get a bonus of a quarter 4 planning session with me. So one-to-one, we will sit on a Zoom call and we will literally plan out your quarter 4. So you have a really clear plan for your specific business and exactly where you're at and exactly what your goals are, of exactly where you need to be focusing. How many times can I say exactly? But exactly where you need to be focusing, and getting you just really strategic and really clear on what it's going to take to bridge the gap between your goals and where you are right now in a way that does not just involve you working more, does not just involve you putting in more hours and hustling more, but actually makes things simpler for you and allows you to build a business that actually creates the lifestyle you started this for in the first place. So if you're at all interested, I would love for you to schedule a discovery call at the link in the description. I will put that down there. On that call, we will just talk through your business, where you're at, how I could potentially support you, and if this coaching program is a good fit for you. And then if you apply and if you're signing on from there, we will get you booked in for your quarter 4 planning session as well to kick us off in style and get you really, really focused from day 1 of us working together. Thank you so much for watching. If you have watched the end of this video, I would love to know and would love to celebrate with you in the comments. So if you have watched the end of this video, drop a leaf emoji in the description because we're heading into 4 now officially. And make sure you like this video if you did like this video, and make sure you subscribe so you do not miss the new videos every single Monday. I'm going to be supporting you all through Q4 to make this your biggest and simplest quarter yet. And I will see you in the next video.